To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
All right, here I come. Should be audio now. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, man. I'm running around. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for tuning in. And what a day. Today is 9/11. Today is 9/11, everybody. Today is 9/11. and these evil Democrats. And you know what? They don't want us to acknowledge who was doing this. President Trump just completely laid it out. He completely laid it out. They've been for 10 years associating President Trump, all of his supporters, with neo-Nazis. They've been doing it for over 10 years. And over 10 years, they were called Republicans, white supremacists, and they're still doing that. That's been longer than 15, 20 years. The Democrats have been demonizing those of us on the right for decades. And the reason why I call them Democrats, they're because of their actions. That's not me being divisive. That's me calling them out for who they are. They're actually celebrating what happened to Charlie Kirk. They're celebrating it. Is that not demonic? Help me understand. Is that not demonic? I mean, there's video after video after video where they're on there laughing. One guy's blowing a trumpet. They're on there jumping up and down. And they go, finally, then there's comedians. Then there's these hateful comedians coming out and saying, finally, someone got it right. You know what? I knew Charlie Kirk personally. I knew Charlie Kirk before he put together, or right when he was putting together Turning Point USA. No one even heard of Turning Point USA. And I knew Charlie Kirk back in 2016. Charlie Kirk actually invited me and a couple influencers to come to Arizona. And it was a Black Influencer Summit. And that's the first time I met Candace Owens. And first time I came in contact. I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was until I met him that day. And then actually Candace Owens introduced us to Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk, his career just exploded after that. He was leaping bounds. And they did this to Charlie Kirk because of his voice. Is there anyone in disagreement with me when I say this would happen to Charlie Kirk falls on the entire Democrat Party? The entire left? Why would they constantly call someone like Charlie Kirk a white nationalist, a neo-Nazi, a white supremacist? Why would they constantly say this about him? Because Charlie Kirk was not racist at all. He was 100% not racist. Every time I've had communication with Charlie Kirk, he's always treated me with the utmost respect. The people that Charlie Kirk came in contact with, he always treated them with the utmost respect. Charlie Kirk gave a voice to the voiceless. Even the people that we disagree with, Charlie Kirk gave them a voice. He would have these sit downs at the universities, colleges all across the country, and he would give them the opportunity to talk to him in an open discussion, a debate, a friendly, civil debate. And the reason why the left did this to Charlie Kirk is because he was reaching the youth. Don't you know at these colleges and the universities, they become indoctrination camps. They become indoctrination camps for the youth to get them to go the socialist communist agenda. They got them. They had them. Because look at a lot of the lawyers today. Look at a lot of the judges today. Look at a lot of the politicians today. Look at a lot of the business people today. They all have this socialist communist agenda because they were indoctrinated when they went to these colleges and the universities. And here comes Charlie Kirk, the next generation, waking him up. Even people that were disagreeing with Charlie Kirk, even people that were disagreeing with him, they're doing videos saying, you know what, y'all went too far. You Democrats went too far. Now, of course, we're not calling them Democrats. And just to be clear, the reason why I've called them Democrats for years, because I've asked this question of everybody. Name one thing under the sun that is pure evil that the Democrats don't support. Just name one. I've asked that question for years. And I started thinking about it even more and more and more. And I'm like, my goodness, is there anything that the Democrat Party as a whole? Now, of course, you have individuals inside the Democrat Party that don't know any better. They know what's happening. They know the Democrat Party as a whole is pushing this stuff, like when it comes to children, et cetera, but they will ignore it because of their hatred for President Trump. They'll ignore all of the evil, wicked stuff. So, of course, there's individual people inside of the Democrat Party that don't go along with all the evil, wicked stuff, but they still support it by voting for it. So I'm going to ask you again, y'all let me know, is there anything, just name one thing that the Democrats do not support that is evil and wicked under the sun? They call us Christians, those of us that believe in our Lord Jesus Christ. They say something's wrong with us. I'll never forget it when Hillary Rodham Clinton was going against President Trump. She said Christians, and for the life of me, I can't find this video, and I'm kicking myself because I wish I would archived it. But she said Christians are the problem in this country. It's been a movement for years for the Democrats to try to remove Christianity in this country, and Charlie Kirk was a threat to them. Not only because he was reaching the youth, but because he was a full-on Christian. He had no issues allowing people to know that he was a believer in Jesus Christ. He supported Israel. He talked about the liberals in Israel, which I think we should be able to talk about, because liberalism is a problem all over the planet. And then, of course, you have all of these evil, wicked liberals. They're kicking and screaming right now, saying that we need to tone down the political rhetoric. They're actually saying that we need to tone it down. Every single time you hear Hakeem Jeffries talk about the MAGA Republic, he goes, the MAGA extremists. Every single time he talks, the MAGA extremists. Do you ever listen to Hakeem Jeffries when he's talking about MAGA Republicans? You ever hear him? What did Cory Booker do when he spent how many hours? I forget how many hours on the floor, the Senate floor, just running his mouth about nothing. Wasn't saying pleasant things about MAGA Republicans, wasn't saying pleasant things about anybody. And here he comes too, saying we need to tone down the political rhetoric. MSDNC, I did a video last night, short. MSDNC, CNN, they're all on there saying, we really should look at toning down the political rhetoric. Like, you Republicans, tone it down, tone it down. As soon as all of this blows over, because regardless, this is day one of this insanity. Next week, next month, next year, we're going to remember, we're never going to forget Charlie Kirk. I will never forget him. He was such an outstanding human being. Every time I came in contact with him, he always showed me the utmost respect. Even when I had conversations with him, and I talked about it yesterday, even before all of this happened, I was talking about Charlie Kirk yesterday, how we had disagreement about something, but he still showed me complete respect, and I had 100% respect for him. The Democrats constantly say that they're open They're compassionate. They believe in the creation of ideas or the openness of ideas. But they actually don't. How many people do you know that lost their jobs when liberals found out that they supported President Trump? How many times have y'all seen someone walking down the street or going to a restaurant and they refuse service because they have on a MAGA hat? How many times have you seen it happen to MAGA Republicans because people find out that they are and they end up in the hospital? How many times? How many times have you heard that about Kamala Harris supporter, Obama supporter, Joe Biden supporter, Bill Clinton supporter? How many times did you hear that happen to any of them? How many times? How many times? How many? Zero. Because it doesn't happen. We as conservative Christians, we believe that you should be able to support whoever it is you want to support. Just don't take our freedoms away from doing so. You should be able to support whoever it is you want. And then they say, well, Will Johnson, you talked about Joe Biden when he was falling up the stairs, or when Joe Biden was reaching his hand out, trying to shake invisible hands, because he was an embarrassment. A total embarrassment. No one wished ill will on this dude. He was in the position of the highest position of the land, and he was representing America, and the rest of the world is looking at us. So it's fair game for us to talk about the condition that the Democrats refuse to acknowledge. They refuse to acknowledge it. But none of us wanted ill will to come upon that dude. None of us. No one did. Everyone was like, man, this is, I called it elderly abuse, what they were doing to Joe Biden. I called it elderly abuse. For everyone who's been watching me for years, you've noticed that, you've known that I've constantly said that we are in a spiritual battle. I'm not the only one that has uttered those words. I'm not the only one. I can't take any credit for being the first one or the only one. There was many people before me and many people after me. But it's so evident today, you can't ignore it. For people, a lot of people that went on and was saying, well, here we go, talking about spiritual things again. Here they go. It's a spiritual battle because the evil, wicked things that these people support, that's the only explanation. Rational thinking people don't support this stuff, this evil, wicked stuff. But those on the left, they do. And then when you on the right don't support the stuff that they want to support, want you to support, they end up demonizing us. They end up taking our finances away. There's been people that supported President Trump, support America, that had bank accounts, and the banks will debank them. Have you ever heard of a liberal supporting the liberals on Capitol Hill getting debanked? I don't think people really understand the magnitude of this. I really don't. Have you ever heard of it? No. When I was in California, I did a speaking engagement, and one gentleman told me that the insurance company that he was with dropped him when they found out that he was supporting President Trump. They just dropped him. No more insurance for you. Because they found out has that ever happened the other way around? Who did it to Abraham Lincoln? Who did it to Abraham Lincoln? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Who did it to him? Who did it? Who did it to Ronald Reagan? And before Ronald Reagan, who did it to Kennedy? I mean, come on, you can't make this up. Who did it? Who did it? And when I'm talking about what party affiliation did it, was it the left or was it the right? Was it Christians or was it progressives? Which one was it? I think we all know the answer. When President Trump was at Butler, come to find out the guy, what was he? Come on. There is a common denominator here, and the radical left want all of us to believe that common denominator has no place here. Like they want us all to believe that it's the rhetoric from both sides. Now, I'll be honest, there is rhetoric on both sides, but you know what? Those on the right, they don't call for stuff like this. There's no videos of any conservatives out there telling somebody to take one for the team. There are no videos. Show me a video of a conservative telling somebody when Obama was in office, when Billy Clinton was there, or when Biden was there, where they were telling somebody to take one for the team. Show me the video. There are none. Zero. They tried to do President Trump twice that we know of. It's been reported. It's been 3 times even. How many times did that happen with Obama? And remember, they all kept saying that America's racist, America's racist. How many times can we go back, look at the history books where it's on paper that they did that to Obama, at Butler? How many times? 0. Because if it happened, we would all remember. It never happened. But according to these people on the left, they want all of us to believe that it's the same on both sides. One side supports everything of Satan. The other side knows that they're not perfect, but they want the best for everybody in this country. Who do you think that is? Who do you think that is? The side that wants everything of Satan, they support everything of Satan, and they're out in the open with it. Out in the open with it. There is something truly wrong in our society, and I say it's a spiritual thing. I say that it's this evil, demonic entity in these people. I want you to listen to this young man from Utah as he was talking about this yesterday when all this basically unfolded. I want y'all to listen to this because he clearly hits it on the head, the nail on the head. He clearly hits it. Listen.
If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American. We desperately need our country. We desperately need leaders in our country. But more than the leaders, we just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be. To ask ourselves, is this it? Is this what 250 years has wrought on us? I pray that that's not the case. I pray that those who hated what Charlie Kirk stood for will put down their social media and their pens and pray for his family, and that all of us will try to find a way to stop hating our fellow Americans.
Do you think we can do that? Do you think we can do that as a society? Is it possible for us to stop being that way with our fellow Americans? You know, for years when I go out, I don't have the charisma that Charlie Kirk has when talking to people. I don't. Charlie Kirk was highly intelligent, and no one can ever take that away from him. Never. I mean, he was a gem. Oh my goodness, he was a gem. He was a national treasure. I mean, just really, dude was a national treasure. And I'm thankful that I had not a huge relationship with him, but he knew who I was. Hey, what's up? Always had communication with the millions of people that he's come across. He always remembered me. I considered him a friend. National treasure. And then, of course, you got this monster. Oh, my goodness. This one had my blood boiling. Right after this took place on MSDNC. And I talked about it briefly yesterday. I brought it up briefly yesterday about what was being said on MSDNC. And I was right down disgusted. When the Butler incident took place with President Trump, they automatically tried to come out and say it was a Trump supporter. Never do they take responsibility for their actions. Never do they take responsibility for their rhetoric. Never do they take responsibility for the actions of evil people out there acting upon what they are saying. This video here has gone viral and then some. And for those of you that have not seen this, buckle up. Listen.
Talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up with what was just said.
Did you hear this? We don't know if it's a supporter firing off in celebration. Did you hear this?
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this.
Oh, my goodness.
Who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts.
What group is he referring to? What group is he referring to? Can y'all let me know what group is he referring to? What group? What group? Because he was, I mean, I'm gonna go and say it. Charlie Kirk didn't have a hateful bone in his body. So what hate group?
Constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups.
Oh my goodness.
And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
Did you hear that? He literally just sat there and blamed Charlie Kirk for what happened to him. Saying, well, Charlie Kirk, maybe if you had changed your rhetoric and maybe had you sided with us radical liberals, like President Trump refers to them, radical leftist lunatic liberals, because that's what they are. You know, it's one thing if you're making up terms, trying to demonize somebody versus calling someone factual things. Charlie Kirk didn't bring this onto himself. Charlie Kirk gave a voice to the voiceless. He really did. Charlie Kirk, he elevated people. He helped people. Even the people that disagree with him, he was helping them. He was helping them. But for this guy to come on here and basically blame Charlie Kirk for giving a space for people that disagree with him to have a voice, because in open discussion, that's where you can have disagreement with one another. See, Charlie Kirk, he wasn't out to get anybody. He wasn't out to harm anybody. Charlie Kirk just wanted people to open their minds and just look at the reality of it all. Just look and pay attention. And what I was saying a minute ago, when I go out and I talk to these people, because some of y'all seen me do it. Some of y'all seen me go out onto the streets of America and have conversations with these liberals. And I never curse at them, right? Sometimes we'll go back and forth. We'll do like the, yelling at each other every now and then. But I never wish ill will on to them. And I truly want to have a conversation. But what I've noticed is that when I go out there, it's very few of them that want to actually have a conversation. And then when you do have a conversation with some of them, because some of them say, okay, let's talk. Tell me why you believe the way you do. Right? And that's what they say. And then I go and I tell them why I support President Trump, why I love my country. And then the liberals that are around them see us getting along, see us having a civil conversation. They just like clockwork, they come in there and say, don't talk to him. He's an agitator. When I'm not agitating anybody, I'm just wanting to have a civil conversation. Having a civil conversation is not agitation, but it is according to the left because they don't want us to get along. They don't. And they know, and I've experienced this myself. They know the people that are watching, that are partially sitting on the fence. And just to let you know, the devil owned that fence. The devil owned that fence. And people that's partially sitting on the fence, they will see the videos of with Charlie Kirk talking to these people that disagree with him. And they go, Charlie Kirk is making sense. This is the reason why they did what they did, my personal opinion, amongst other things. That wasn't the only reason, but that's a big reason, because he was reaching millions upon millions of people. Can you imagine Charlie Kirk? I've always had this ideal in my head. Charlie Kirk keep going the way he's going. He's going to end up being president one day. I'm serious. He's going to end up being president one day. Without fail, without any issues, right? No one was saying Charlie Kirk for president, maybe a few people, but no one on the major scale was screaming it. I always had this, because look what he was doing. He was getting people to think with common sense. Just with common sense. He is truly going to be missed. As soon as I saw it yesterday, and I said, yeah, he's not going to make it. And Shannon, she wasn't around. And I went and told her what happened. And just like a lot of other people send me messages, and immediately just started crying. She just started bawling. She started crying. But as a man, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like personal. I mean, this is personal for me. It really is. It's personal for me, because I've had personal time with Charlie Kirk. So this is personal with me. My God. These people are straight up evil. They're straight up evil. And is it going to get better? Right now, I think this was a total psyop. I think this was a couple of reasons why they did this. One, because they couldn't get to Trump. Another is because they wanted to silence Charlie Kirk. Another is that they want us to react the way the left reacts. See, even after what they've done here to Charlie Kirk, there's no rioting in the streets. There's no burning of buildings. Because if it was, it would be all over the news. It'd be all over the media. But that's the reaction that they were looking from us. They were looking for that reaction from us. They really were. They still are. They're hoping at some point that we will build up. And I'm angry. Don't get me wrong. I am furious. But they want us to react in a non-Christian way. And to be honest with you, sometimes the Christian way is to stop the evil in this world. We don't have to sit idly by. We don't have to just sit on the couch and just pray. We need to we need to get into peaceful action. Do you know what I mean? We need to get into peaceful action. There is a thing called righteous anger. There's a thing called righteous anger. To see this level of hate coming from the left. And it is. As I mentioned when I first started, who's been calling who neo-Nazis for the past 10 years? Who's been calling who white nationalists, white supremacists for the past 10 years plus? Who's been doing that? What do we on the right call those on the left? That will cause people to want to go out and react like they're reacting. I'm being straight up with you. That's a genuine question that I have. What have we said? And I remember before people used to tell me, saying, Will, you need to stop talking about the Democrats. And all I did was talk about what they were doing. That's all I did. I talked about the activities that they were doing, and the activities that they were doing, when it's said out loud, is not good. And people didn't like the fact that I would talk about the activities of the left. They were doing it. I talked about it. I wasn't lying. There's no benefit in it. No benefit in lying. I would talk about it, and they would get upset because I talked about it. You know what, everybody? I had so much to share with you, and I know I'm not going to be able to get to all of it, but I want y'all to know. Remember back in 2000, I think it was 2012, or maybe it was 2008. It was 2008 or 2012. Actually, I think it was 2008. Don't hold me to it. The DNC had a event, right during election time, they have an event. Well, during this one event, and I couldn't believe it, they actually took a poll in the event, should we or should we not include God? Most of you know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all probably never even heard of this, and I encourage you to go look it up. Look up DNC rejects God. They voted and they said no God in the DNC. They took a vote on it because some of those that were in the DNC said, well, we need to acknowledge God. And they were saying, nope, not going to do it. They took a vote and they overwhelmingly said no. Only a small majority wanted it. Which brings me to this one here. Yesterday, they were asking Congress for a quick moment of silence. Just a small, quick moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Because Charlie Kirk touched everybody's lives. Regardless, every single person in that chamber, they know who Charlie Kirk is. They know. We all know who Charlie Kirk is. Listen to how they reacted.
What purpose did the gentlelady from Colorado rise? Let's Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wow.
The House will be in order. The House will be
Even
in order.
cursing. Even cursing.
The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
Asking for a moment of silence, and that's how they reacted. For a moment of silence. The Democrats couldn't shut up for 30 seconds even. Not even 30 seconds. They couldn't even let 3 seconds go by. Nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. Because they reject everything of God. And then people wonder, is there anybody watching right now that still wonder why I call them the Democrats? And it's not to demonize them. They're doing it themselves. Why not take 30 seconds? 30 seconds for a moment of silence. And it technically should be 60 seconds. They can't do it. They can't do it. Why not? Why not? Why not? Ask the question, why can't you just take 60 seconds? 60 seconds to be quiet. Here it is in the European Parliament. Same thing. Same thing. Liberalism is not only in America.
Madam President, dear colleagues, the murder of political activist Charlie Kirk, a husband, loving father, and patriot, has shocked the world. We must strongly condemn political violence and rhetoric that incites violence. Please stand with me in reflection and prayer in his honor, and I yield the rest of my time for a moment of silence.
Listen.
Herr Kollege Weimers, wir haben abgesprochen und Sie wissen, dass die Präsidentin hat eine Schweigeminute abgelehnt. Wir fahren daher fort. Wir kommen zum Bericht von Herrn Stefano Bonaccini. Die Präsidentin hat die Schweigeminute abgelehnt. Bericht von Herrn Stefano Bonaccini zur Zusammenarbeit zwischen Durchsetzungsbehörden im Hinblick auf unlautere Handelspraktiken in der Agrar- und Lebensmittelversorgungskette. Abstimmung, Eintritt in die interinstitutionellen Verhandlungen. Wer ist dafür? Wer ist dagegen? Wer enthält sich? Angenommen. Der Ausschuss kann damit unverzüglich interinstitutionelle Verhandlungen aufnehmen. Vielen Dank.
And see, when I first heard this, I thought she was speaking in German so people understand what he just said. But they all understand English. And see, they're all beating the tables, telling her basically to shut up. Refuse to do it. They refuse to do it. They refuse to do it. It made me think about when I went to the event, the No Kings event, and I said, Jesus is king. And when I said Jesus is king, they all came unglued. No, 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 no. When I said Jesus is king. Is there anyone that believes that we're not in a spiritual battle? Is there anyone who believes that we're not in a spiritual battle? Okay, someone just sent me, actually, Shannon just sent me a link. And I'm going to see if I can get it in here. Obviously, she sent it to me, so it must be really important. So let me see if I can... Let me see if I can get it here and share it with you, whatever it is. I'm just going to go here and play it for you. It looks like it's pertaining to what took place with Charlie Kirk, of course, or she wouldn't have been sending it to me. All right, so here, hold on one second. I'm just gonna bring it up here, and it looked like there's a news report that's going on, news conference, and I'm gonna bring that up right for you right now. Okay. I'm just gonna go right to it.
We're working through some technologies and some ways to identify. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., this subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We are working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we are confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately. Last night I communicated with Erica. The family's devastated. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen this state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding.
Wow. This should have never been a conversation today. Today's 9/11. Today's 9/11. So not are we only reminded about what happened with 9/11, this will always be ingrained in the history of this country now. Will always be ingrained in this country now. The country's hurting. I mean, the country's hurting. And then you got videos with Raskin when he's being asked a question, and Elizabeth Warren, and then you have Madami in New York. They're all saying is gun control is what's needed. Gun control is what's needed. Not them toning down the rhetoric, but gun control. Not them calling all of us. I mean, if you're calling someone a neo-Nazi Hitler figure, what do you think is going in the minds of people? When I was a kid, if I had a time machine, and I know I did this with a lot of guys, I don't know that females ever did this, but I said, if I ever had a time machine, I'd go back and take out Hitler. So now they're all spewing that same thing about President Trump and his supporters. What do you think that in their mind, well, they don't have a time machine, what are they going to do? The left has always tried to crush everybody that disagree with them. Again, financially, on your job, going to a restaurant, no matter what it is, they try to crush you financially, physically, mentally, everything, if they find out that you do not agree with them. If they find out that you do not agree with them, well, I just want to say prayers for Charlie and his family and prayers for our country. Personally, I don't think these Democrats are done. I don't think these Democrats are done. God bless.